welcome YouTube. It's Geography live stream, cup of tea and case studies. We're back. It's Monday night, 6 p.m. The only place to be in terms of preparation for your exams. How are we all? What a lovely day, eh? What a blooming lovely evening. Yeah, I would say too nice to be revising, but it's never too nice to do some geography revision. Anyway, join us in the chat. Say hello. Let me know who's there. Young and old. I mean, old as in like parents, carers, granddads, grandmas. Who's joined us tonight? Who's in the chat? Let us know. Hit us up in the comments section before we get started. How are we all? Hope you're all good. Hope you're all doing really well. I was doing a little bit of research actually, very early today. 50 days to your geography exam. What is that? That's a month and a half. Oh my God, a month and a half until your first geography exam. This is what, this is what we've been working towards. This is all the classwork that you've done, all the homeworks that you've done, all that revision that you've already done. It will pay off. This is what we've been working towards all this time. And I am so glad the exams are coming up around the corner. It's just a chance to show that examiner everything that we know. Anyway, let's see who's in the chat, guys, before we get started. Mods, good to see you, Mods. How are you? Hope everything's good. And how are you getting on with that Geography NEA? Yeah. Hopefully it's coming on really well. Bruno, yes. Hi, Bruno. Good to see you. Thanks for joining us in the chat as well this evening. You are a dedicated geographer. I'll give you that. Always. I don't think you've missed a live stream yet. Always in the live stream. So good to see you. James, cracking to see you. Great to see you as well on Thursday night at the Year 9 Pathways evening. I know you were there with your sister. Yeah, it was great to see you then, looking very, very smart. And hopefully you're ready for tonight's revision. Tonight's geography revision. Good to see you. And we've also got Harry. Good to see you, Harry. Hope you're well. Hope you're good. And yeah, good to see you in the chat there. And hopefully some good revision. Keep up that amazing attendance that you've got this year. 100% attendance so far this year. So that's incredible. Well done. Right, we are going to get started pretty soon because we want to try and squeeze it into the next hour, 6 till 7. Tonight's live stream is based on paper 1, physical geography, my favorite. Paper 1, physical geography. We're going to focus on question 2, which is ecosystems. So that is UK small-scale ecosystems, ponds. We did freshwater pond. If you're watching from another school, you may have studied another case study. We did tropical rainforests and hot deserts. Again, if you follow in from another school, you may find that you studied cold deserts. Some of this live stream might not be relevant to you, but just be careful. So yeah, hot deserts, tropical rainforests, and small-scale UK ecosystems. So that's what we're going to cover tonight, all of which are question 2 on paper 1, 14th of May in the morning. So this will help you with question 2, getting you up and running and feeling super confident, getting those grades 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's get to 9. That's the hope. As high as 9, that would be amazing. We are going to start in the next couple of minutes. Hit us up. What you're drinking? What's getting you through revision? Have you got your cup of tea? Just in case you haven't seen what cup of tea is, there you go. Cup of tea. I can't do anything without a cup of tea. It's got to have a cup of tea, haven't you? Cup of Yorkshire tea. Right, who else is in the chat? Alexander, good to see you, Alexander. Awesome to have you in tonight's live stream. And any parents in the background that might be watching as well, good to see you. Who else we got? We've got Raghav. Year 14, technically, is never too old for a geography live stream. Raghav, how you doing? How's the degree going in finance and accountancy? Yeah, I hope you're enjoying yourself. Hope you're not missing the geography department too much at Abbott Bain. Everybody else who's watching is thinking, I can't wait to get out of geography. I can't wait to leave Abbott Bain School in the next few weeks, months. And you probably miss it, I bet. Yeah, I hope you're not missed it too much. And Sadhu, good to see you, Sadhu. Thank you for joining us on tonight's live stream. Hopefully you're excited for this one. It should be a good one and getting you ready for those exams. Right, I think that's about it for the chat. Obviously, if anybody else joins, do say hello. But tonight we're going to get ready for our ecosystems, rainforests, and hot deserts. So let me just do a little bit of screen sharing. Let's make sure we're all ready. Here we go, screen share. And share. Is it on? Yes, we're on. Right, let me just put myself down the bottom right hand corner. Let's get rid of. Oh, we got a comment just there. Uni's fine. I'm on the train. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Just listen to it like a podcast. Yeah, if you're doing a bit of working out, if you're doing a bit of chilling in bed, yeah, this is also kind of a podcast style revision. So you can listen in wherever you are. But I hope you've had a good day so far. I finished today. I get 6 months off. Wow. Wish I got 6 months off. I can't complain. I get 3 months off a year. But 6 months is even better, isn't it? What are you actually paying for there, Ragav? I don't know. University fees are expensive. And you don't sound like you're there very much. So I don't know what you're actually paying for. Is it good accountancy? I don't know. Right. I've got my biscuit ready. Got my Kit Kat. There you go. I've got a Kit Kat ready as well. And we're all good to go. So, wait a minute. Just give me 1 second. I just need to let my cat out. Here's my cat. Just before, say hello to the live stream. Yeah, there's the cat. Right, there you go. Off we go. Otherwise, geographers will be on the blooming live stream. They'll be jumping all over the work and pets, eh? You can't really have pets when you're doing your geography revision. You need it nice and focused. All right. If your pets are well behaved, they could sit next to you and watch you do revision, which I think is probably a good thing. Also, you could tell them about your revision. Like you could actually talk them through your revision. But my cat is not very well behaved. So let's just get that right. I need to get rid of him because he's a naughty boy sometimes. He's been out on the roof. That's where he goes. Right. Anyway, with all that cat talk, let's get started. Let's get rid of that. Here we go then. So I hope you got your paper and pens at the ready. Let's get started. I do enjoy doing these. I really do. Paper 1. Question 2. Ecosystems. This is like the David Attenborough topic of GCSE geography. I absolutely love this. The exam is on the 14th of May. And it's in the morning, 9 a.m. So that's when this revision is needed. Okay, let's just zoom you in a little bit. There we go. So you can see, are we on focus? There we go. All right. So it's paper 1, physical geography. And what we're going to do today, guys, as I've done on all my live streams, is we're going to cover the things that are most likely to appear in 2025. So it's things that are common on the exam and things that are most likely to appear in 2025 that haven't been on the exam for a while. And there's one tip I think this year that's possibly almost likely to come up. Dare I say it? It's desertification. So make sure you know desertification really well. We have got an additional video on the channel. Check out the lives on this channel. Click desertification, and there is a separate video all on desertification. The neighbours' dogs are barking now. I think they've just got home, so the neighbours' dogs are barking. That's just what I say. Pets, eh? Right. So things that you must revise. Here we go. Top left. So things that you must revise. Here we go. So there are certain topics that come up every single year in this area. So these are must revise topics. Must revise every year. They come up so often. It would be crazy not to revise these areas. Again, most of them are on our YouTube channel already. And also, if you're in my school, we've also created all my revision grids are all kind of on there as well. So you'll see it on there if you're doing your revision. Okay, number 1 is the Thar Desert in between India and Pakistan. You must know the Thar Desert. In particular, you must know the opportunities which are the positives of living in the Thar Desert. Things like renewable energy, agriculture, tourism, and minerals. There we go. That's a bit of a revision for me. And the challenges of living in the Thar Desert, such as accessibility by road. It's quite difficult to get to areas of the Thar Desert. The extreme temperatures impacting on human health are just some of the challenges. But make sure you know the challenges and opportunities of the Thar Desert. There's two other really popular ones that come up, which is the Amazon rainforest. Deforestation. Yeah, you've got to know your deforestation from your causes, the impacts of deforestation, and the management of deforestation, which we're actually going to do a little bit of that in today's live stream as well. But yeah, Amazon rainforest, deforestation. Again, there's a video. You're getting fed up with this, huh? There's a little video on the YouTube channel which is dedicated to the Amazon rainforest as well. So you can check that out as a separate video. Last but not least, and I don't know why this comes up all the time, but plant and animal adaptations in rainforests, such as things like buttress roots, triangular roots, the lianas, those vines that climb up to the canopy, epiphytes, plants that grow and take nutrients and water from a host plant, emergent trees emerging above to get maximum photosynthesis, and animals. So things like the spider monkey is a really good one to talk about if you're doing about tropical rainforest. The toucan with its large beak to break into nuts and berries, and the sloth, with its long claws to grab onto branches. It's also got this kind of algae moss that grows on its fur that makes it camouflage. If you're doing hot desert animals, I would stick to the camel or the fennec fox as your hot desert animals. And if you're doing hot desert plants, I would stick to the cactus. They're the most common ones. But yeah, you need to know your plants and animals in rainforests, tropical rainforests, and hot deserts. It sounds like I live at a dog sanctuary. There's some more dogs barking now. The neighbours' dogs are barking now. No. Now some more dogs barking. Oh dear. Anyway, you'll be all right, won't you guys? Let us know in the chat if you can hear the dogs. Right, let's get cracking then. We're going to specialise first of all in the word biome. A biome. It's not been on the paper ever. What is a biome? So hit us up in the chat, guys. Do you know what a biome is? Or do you know how many biomes there are in the world? Excuse me, dogs. We have a live stream going down. Thank you. What is a biome? Hit us in the chat, guys. Do you know what a biome is? And do you know how many biomes we have on Earth? Any ideas? Nothing coming through. So a biome is a large scale global ecosystem. It's a large scale global ecosystem. We have 9 global biomes. From tropical rainforests, we have 9 global biomes. From tropical rainforests to savanna, to hot deserts, cold deserts, mountains, Mediterranean, tundra, and some others. I've missed some. Oh, deciduous woodland, which is what we have here in the UK, and a few others. So we've got 9 global biomes, and global biomes are characterized. They're characterized by the climate, So it's the climate that makes it a characteristic. So the climate and linked to the climate and the vegetation that's there. So tropical rainforests are hot, well, sorry, they're warm and wet, and they have large trees like emergent trees, which is a characteristic of tropical rainforests. So they're characterized by the climate and the vegetation. So the climate, whether it's wet, hot, cold, dry, will influence what vegetation will grow in that particular biome. Okay, and the biome that we're interested in for our geography exam, AQA, is tropical rainforests. So we're going to put a little subhead in tropical rainforests. I'm trying my best to keep it neat, guys. Hope you are as well. Tropical rainforests, shorthand abbreviation is TRF, tropical rainforest. Okay, so I might use that later on in our revision. Okay, tropical rainforest. Okay, let's go with some key information about tropical rainforests. So first of all, you've got to know whereabouts we find tropical rainforests. So hit us up in the chat, guys. Where in the world do you find tropical rainforests? Where are they located? Where do we find tropical rainforests? There's a little bit of a map pin. I do love to add colour. It helps with the revision. It helps with your memory. So we're going to go with location. Where do we find tropical rainforests? Okay, we've got some answers coming in, which is really good. Let's have a little look. Between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. Let's add that one. That is absolutely correct. So we're going to put here between. Absolutely brilliant, Bruno. Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. That's why they're known as tropical. Anything that's located between the Tropic of Cancer, the Tropic of Capricorn is in the tropical belt. So they are tropical. Good. Tropic of Capricorn. Yeah, well done. On the equator. Yeah, let's put that one in. So Bruno is correct. So is James. Between 10 degrees north and 10 degrees south of the equator. Okay. It is a discontinuous band, so it's not perfectly like there isn't rainforest all the way around the equator, so it's fragmented. That's because areas have been cleared or areas have died back. So there is a discontinuous band. It's fragmented, and we best add number one, the largest. We've got. There is some in South America, or there is a large rainforest in South America known as the Amazon. Yes. The world's largest tropical rainforest. We also have rainforests in Central to West Africa, in the Democratic Republic of Congo. We have them in Indonesia. We have them in Borneo, which is in Southeast Asia. We also have them in the northern tip of Australia, the Daintree rainforest as well. So just remember where a few of them are. Names are important, especially if you're trying to get grades 4 and above. So there's the location, guys. Right, let's have a little look at the system of rainforests. Again, this is something that's not been on for a little while, something that potentially could come up. How rainforests actually work, okay? So let's get into the science of this. I really enjoy the environmental science of this section. So rainforest is like a system. It works in a way where you've got things that move around the system, like water and nutrients. allows the rainforest to function. So let's talk about the climate first of all. Here's our sunshine. What's the temperature? What's the average temperature of the rainforest? What sort of temperatures do we get in terms of the climate of the rainforest? Again, hit us up in the chat. And also, I'd like to know about rainfall. How much rainfall typically falls in tropical rainforest areas? Let's do the temp. So, have we got anybody who's knows the temperature and rainfall of tropical rainforests? Okay, Bruno has gone in with 20 to 28 degrees Celsius. I like the fact that you've used the units there. Really good, Bruno. Degrees Celsius. It's a bit low. You've made it too cold. Okay, you've made it too cold. Any other guesses on how much rain falls per year in rainforests and what the temperature is like in our rainforests? Okay. So the average temperature throughout the year is 27 to 30 degrees Celsius. That's all year round. Okay, all year round, warm temperatures. Warm temperatures. Rainfall. Let's get our little cloud in. Here we go. Rainfall is the highest on the planet, hence the name rainforest. These are the wettest parts of the planet, and they get over 2,500 millimeters per year of precipitation. Okay, so they are very warm and they are very wet. Perfect for plant growth. One thing that most plants need is a nice warm climate with plenty of precipitation. So what we say this is we say that it's very humid. So there's a little bit of steam. So it has a humid climate. Okay, so it has a humid climate. It also has no seasons. So there's no spring, there's no summer, there's no winter. There are no seasons. It is literally the same weather each day. It is warm and relatively wet in the afternoons. By about 3 o'clock in the afternoon to about 5 o'clock, you generally get a rain event, a shower. Okay. So that's the climate of the rainforest. Now let's move on to looking at how water and nutrients are cycled in tropical rainforest. So I'm just going to draw a tree. Make sure I've got enough room here. So we're running out of space at the bottom. Here we go. We get some roots on that tree. There we go. So there's our tree. And tree needs sunlight. So let's get the sun on. All plants need sunlight. Or most plants, should I say, need sunlight for photosynthesis. It's part of the photosynthesis. So we're going to start with looking at the water cycle. Okay. Water will evaporate. Let's put a little bit of water on the forest floor here. This is the forest floor down here. So water will evaporate from the forest floor. So we need to put evaporation. Yeah, that's evaporation. Water evaporating. Also, water will evaporate from the surface of our tree. With these hot temperatures, the tree loses moisture through its leaves or its stomata. That's the little pores on the leaf. And that process is called transpiration. Basically, our trees will sweat. Let's just get you a bit closer there again. So you've got transpiration. Okay. So we've got evaporation of moisture from the forest. We've got transpiration. And that will lead then to condensation. Okay, so all the warm air rises into the atmosphere, it cools down, and then we get condensation, which forms clouds. Once the clouds become too heavy with the rain, gravity will pull that water back down to the ground, and that is called precipitation. So let's put precipitation here. So it's a perfect little system of evaporation. Let's show the heat there. Evaporation, transpiration, condensation, and precipitation. And any water that's in the root system here will be uptake by roots. So any moisture in the soil, there's our water in the soil. Any moisture in the soil will be taken back up to the roots and back up to the canopy where it'll transpire. Okay, and this is a perfect cycle of water in the rainforest, a perfect system of water and how it moves around until the trees are cleared. If the trees are cleared for deforestation, this whole system collapses because you don't have the transpiration because you haven't got the tree. So this is a really important natural system in our rainforest. Our rainforest potentially waters itself through this continuous cycle. Okay, maybe I should put some arrows, yeah, in this area so you can see it's a cycle. Key term, this is called convectional, which means heat. Convectional. It's called convectional rainfall. And that's so important. I'm going to shade it in so I can see. So this type of rainfall where you have evaporation, condensation, precipitation, and it goes round in a continuous loop, it's called convectional rainfall. Okay, let's have a little look at the nutrient cycle then, how nutrients are cycled around the forest. So let's start off with our leaf falling off the tree. Yeah, there's our leaf falling to the ground. Oh dear, so the leaf's died. So here we go, leaves and branches fall. I'm sure you've studied the nutrient cycle in your science lessons, and it's the same basically. So leaves and branches fall. Then we get what we call leaf litter, which is basically all the dead leaves and branches on the floor. Could even be dead animals as well. So here we got our leaf litter, yeah, on the floor. And in the forest floor, we've got lots of these little helpful guys, which are our decomposers. So this could be worms, it could be beetles, it could be bacteria. There's loads of good stuff in that forest soil that will decompose. This was also on an exam, actually. So these are our decomposers. Yeah. And what the job of a decomposer is to return nutrients to the soil. So they break down the organic matter back into little nutrients. Here we go. These are my nutrients, these little stars. Yeah. Let's make sure we know it's in the soil here. There we go. That's the soil. So the decomposers, they're living in the soil. Yeah. And then these nutrients are taken back up by the root of the tree. Yeah. All this goodness here. It's all basically nitrogen. That's what it is. It's nitrogen. Nitrogen is taken back up the root of the tree, and then we get new growth. Yeah, obviously with a bit of photosynthesis, with the light, we've got water from our water cycle, and then we've got the nutrients that are cycled around here. So again, if I put some arrows in, we can see how that little cycle works. Dead organic matter decomposes, broken down, nutrients released into the soil, up by the roots, and then new growth. Again, it's a perfect rainforest system until the trees are removed. And when the trees are removed, you don't get the leaf litter, and the whole system starts to collapse, which is not Good. Right, I just want to add one more thing. Since we're right down here, I want to talk about the soils in the rainforest. So these are the soils of the rainforest, and they've never asked a question. Never asked a question about soils in the rainforest. This might be coming up. This might be coming up. So it won't be too many marks because there isn't too much to say. But what do we know about soils in the rainforest? Well, we know that they lack nutrients. They lack nutrients. They're not very fertile. Okay. We also know that they are red in color. Red in color. That's because they have a lot of iron minerals in there. So let's do a little bit of red. They contain iron, which is one of the things that they mine in rainforests. They mine for iron because it's very profitable, iron ore. So they lack nutrients. They're red in color. And this is the best one, guys. Try and remember this. Leaching. The soils are heavily leached. Okay. So I'm going to put that in yellow, leaching. And leaching is where heavy rain washes out nutrients. Yeah. We've already said that it's the wettest part of the planet. And the heavy rain, when the rain comes down, it's really heavy and it washes out the nutrients. So these are the nutrients. If it rains, it washes them much lower in the soil profile and the plants can't get to them. So heavy rains wash out those valuable nutrients in the topsoil and it's called leaching. Remember that, guys. If you get asked about soils, say that soils in rainforests are heavily leached by heavy rainfall. Okay, so there's our little systems of tropical rainforests. So I'm pretty happy with that little section. Right, let's keep learning about rainforests. Another thing that's not been on for a while is the structure of a rainforest. So let's have a little look at the structure of a rainforest, okay? So I'm going to go for this middle section now. There we go. That's my other bit that I've done so far. We're going to go up here and do the structure, okay? So can you remember how rainforests are structured? Or should I say, what are the layers of the rainforest? So can you remember the layers of a tropical rainforest? Hit us up in the chat, guys. Let us know. Do you know the 5 layers, technically, of the rainforest? So I'm going to put up here structure. Structure of TRF, tropical rainforest. You can use that in your exam, guys, as long as you've written tropical rainforest out once in full. If you write tropical rainforest brackets TRF, after that, you can use TRF. If you're as lazy as me, you don't want to keep writing tropical rainforest because you end up saying it a lot. So who knows the layers of the forest? Any of the layers, or do you know them in order from highest to lowest? Can you name the layers of the forest from highest to lowest? Okay, so the reason why we've got these layers in our tropical rainforest is because of the amount of sunlight, okay? Sunlight, water, and nutrient availability, but mainly sunlight. So layers are influenced by the amount of sunlight. So guess what? The tallest trees get maximum amount of sunlight, therefore they're the tallest. Photosynthesis rates are really high. The smallest plants tend to be on the forest floor where it's darker, there's less photosynthesis, and therefore they don't grow as much. So mainly sunlight is the influence, but some areas where there might be a lack of water, that might affect the growth, and where there's a lack of nutrients in the soil, again, that might affect the growth. But let's get the sunlight on. Here we go. Really, really important. There we go. There's our sunlight. That's what's going to influence the layers. So let's go for our layers. I'm going to draw my diagram. And you can draw your diagram as well. I hope you enjoy doing these little diagrams and things. I think it really helps with it really helped me when I was doing this in my revision. I actually found revision, I know this is going to sound really weird, guys. I actually found revision quite enjoyable and quite fun. Because I knew that I was learning stuff. And then I knew that I was going to do better in my exam. And that the exam wouldn't be something that I'd have to worry too much about because I knew my stuff because I'd revised. So, yeah. And I used to like making these little visual. In fact, I still do. I'm 43 and I still love doing these little diagrams for you guys. How sad am I? Very, I know. So, here's our layers. I've just drawn our layers in. Right, can we name them? Let's have a little look in the chat. James, emergent layer. Well done. Canopy and lower canopy. Yeah, pretty accurate. Oh, here we are. This one looks very good, Harry. Our rainforest expert has nailed it. So the top layer is called the emergent. Emergent, because they emerge. Let's just drop you in a bit closer here. So we've got our emergent layer, or trees, and these are about 50 meters high. Maximum sunlight, maximum rates of photosynthesis. That's why they grow the tallest. Next layer is the canopy. This is the main layer of trees, between 30 and 35 meters. It's the engine room of the rainforest. It's where most plant and animal species live. It's very biodiverse. So yeah, it's where most things live. It is the canopy. Next one is the under canopy. These are the smaller trees waiting to burst into the canopy. They're waiting for a gap to form. You can see why it's called the canopy as well. Look, it kind of blocks the forest floor from water and rainfall and things like that, and light. It's like a canopy, we've got canopies at school. You can stand under them at break when it's too wet. And we've got our shrub layer. That's our bushes. They're between kind of 0 and 5 meters above the ground. And then we've got our forest floor, which is obviously the soil. So there's our forest floor. There we go. And then we've got our soils underneath it. So there's the layers of the forest. If that comes up, most geographers like to talk about the layers of the forest. It's quite straightforward. Yeah, that's how they're structured. And it's all based on how much light they're getting. And water and nutrients. Okay, here we go then. This is a question that's not been on the exam for a while. Hit us up in the chat. Why are tropical rainforests so important? Okay, why are tropical rainforests so important? Or the importance of rainforests? I think you might be asked that question this year, potentially. What is the importance of tropical rainforests? So I'm just going to move out a little bit. There we go. Let's drop down to here. Here we go. And we're going to put a little heading in. Why are tropical rainforests, TRF, important? It's on the specification. It's not been on for a couple of years. It's been on only once. I think it's quite a nice question. You could answer it quite simply. Most people could answer this question, I feel. But there are some really good answers that you can come up with, and that's what we're going to prepare for here. So why are tropical rainforests important? Okay, what have we got? Well, first of all, we've got two major categories. This is what most geographers will forget, because they'll just start talking about the different things. Oh, I broke my green pencil here. That's not good, is it, when we're doing about rainforest? There we go. So the first one is services. So tropical rainforests provide services to the area or to the globe. They'll do jobs for the planet that are needed to sustain life on Earth, basically. So services are ways in which the forest regulates the Earth systems. So they do jobs that without the forest, we would be struggling. So Harry's got number one. Well done, Harry. They are, this is probably one of the best things you can say, they are a carbon sink. Okay, they are a carbon sink. Let me just zoom you in, guys. Oops, there we go. Why are tropical rainforests important? They are a carbon sink. They absorb more CO2 than they release. They store CO2. How important is that? Well, CO2 is a greenhouse gas. It insulates the atmosphere and creates climate change. So we don't need CO2 up in the atmosphere. We don't need excess CO2 in the atmosphere. Trees are amazing. They regulate atmospheric CO2. They bring climate change down, and they really support the planet. So hats off to our trees. Other things that they do are, oh, wow, that is pretty impressive, Bruno. Net primary productivity. Yeah, basically what he's saying there is they have an important role in photosynthesis, which is also net primary NPP, net primary productivity. That is impressive. That is Bruno. That is like A grade, A level grade. I mean, A level standard. So what do? They have an important job in photosynthesis, creating plant matter from sunlight, water, and nutrients. Good. They also are a habitat space for animals. Remember, 50% of all species live in rainforests. So they are an important habitat space. 50% of all species live there. They regulate the atmosphere. Regulate atmosphere. I'm sure you know that they produce oxygen, or O2. So rainforests will produce oxygen, which is important for respiration. It's important for you and I to breathe that in. Yeah, so plants regulate the atmosphere by producing oxygen. And last service they provide is they maintain soil health. So if you've got a healthy, thriving rainforest, you're going to have healthy, thriving soil, because the nutrient cycle, we just talked about the nutrient cycle here, that's all part of the health of the soil, and that is part of a service as well. So we have our services. The next thing we have is our goods, which are products from the rainforest. So we've got services and we've got goods. Here we go. So rainforests provide us with physical things that we can sell or we can use. So rainforest provides us with products. Okay, it provides us with products. This is also good for things like trade. So if you're a country with rainforest, it actually improves your trade. You might be able to export some of these things and make a lot of money from them. So in theory, what could you make money from? Well, you can make money from the following goods. We've got food. So food such as coffee. Coffee plants grow in rainforests. We've also got soy or soya beans. And we have beef. Controversially, cattle ranching is the biggest cause of deforestation. But these are things that we can take from the forest, and these are goods. These are also known as cash crops because they can be very valuable and they can earn countries a lot of money. So these are cash crops. Good. The obvious one, which most students would say, is we got raw materials. So you can take raw materials such as iron and timber. There's also gold in the rainforest, but there's lots of other minerals, coal, gas, oil, yeah, there's loads of energy sources there. Venezuela has one of the largest oil reserves in its tropical rainforest. So yeah, loads of raw materials. And going back to what James has said, number 3, medicines. Yeah, medicines. So let's just draw our little red cross. First aid. A lot of medicines come from plants in tropical rainforest. Cures for leukemia, the contraceptive pill, lots of drugs derive from plants in tropical rainforest, and this is called the gene pool. So plants in rainforest have medicinal properties. So bits of leaf, bits of flower, you can put it together and you can create medicines, and that makes people better again. So there you go. If you're asked about why rainforests are important, remember to talk about services, talk about goods, and probably the services are probably more important than the goods, but it's up to you. What do you want to decide? There you go. Right. Protecting the rainforest. So we're going to finish rainforest here on this one. I think you may be asked in 2025, how do we sustainably manage rainforest? So hit us up in the chat, guys. How can we save the world's rainforest for the next generation? How do we make sure that the rainforest is still there for the next generation? What can we do to save our tropical rainforest? So I'm going to put a subhead in here: conserving / sustainable rainforest, sustainable management, but I can't fit that in. Sustainable rainforest. So I'm running out of room, geographers here. We're getting a lot of information on this one piece of paper, though, so that's one good thing. This is the beauty of this type of revision. You get a lot of lessons worth of learning on one page, so then you can really remember it better. So here we go then. Let's have a little look. How can we save rainforests for future generations? Harry is absolutely right. Number 1. Let's go with numbers for this. 1, selective logging. So you only clear trees that are in abundance. Yeah. So if there's lots of a particular species, then you clear those trees, you leave the rarer species behind. Or maybe the tree has to be of a certain size. So the trunk has to be a certain size before it can be cleared. So only the mature trees are selectively taken, not all of the forest. Now, there are problems with selective logging. To get one tree out that you might be allowed to take, 20 other trees get damaged in the felling and the clearing, which is not ideal. Yeah, so it can be quite destructive still. Right, let's have a look at what other ones we've got. Ecotourism, yes. Number 2, ecotourism. Well done. If this comes up in the exam, guys, you must talk about ecotourism. You can make money from the forest by leaving it there and inviting tourists in. A bit like a Centre Parks type holiday. You could do tours, you could do, let's find out what animals live in the forest and take people around, get them to stay over, buy local goods and crafts, buy local food, and make money from tourism. Many countries, such as Jamaica, make a lot of money from tourism. So ecotourism is a good one. And the country to talk about here is Costa Rica. It's in Central America, and it makes amazing money from ecotourism in its rainforests. And we've got another one, yes, debt for nature. Debt for nature. So basically, many countries that have rainforests are poor. So what they might do is they might swap some debt that they've got to, say, protecting their rainforest. This was done in Indonesia. Indonesia had a lot of debt to the US, and the US said, don't worry about paying back your £200 million of debt. Save a section of the rainforest as a way of kind of saving the planet. And also it helps America offset its carbon emissions. So Good. Debt for nature or swap debt for trees. Good. I've got a few more. We've got the obvious one, afforestation or replanting. To save the rainforest, replant trees that are taken. Makes it more sustainable. Obviously, it costs money for the seeds. The trees take time to grow. But in essence, it should work. You take 2 trees, you plant 2 more. In theory, it should work as long as the clearing is not as fast as the planting. Okay, number 5 is education. That's what we're doing in school. That's what we should be doing in countries with rainforests, educating young people about the dangers of clearing rainforests so that they don't clear the rainforest, so they know why it's important not to clear it. And then last but not least, number 6 is international agreements. International agreements. Such as the hardwood agreement. So basically, countries decided that they weren't going to clear and log hardwoods because they're kind of endangered to some extent, like mahogany. Great example. Mahogany is an endangered species of tree, and therefore countries signed this agreement saying they wouldn't clear mahogany trees. And therefore, mahogany species gets to replenish and naturally recover. So there's 6 ways in which we can save rainforests for the future. Which ones seem to work the best? Personally, I think ecotourism is really great because it means that you can still make money for your economy whilst protecting your tropical rainforest. But it's up to you. Obviously, have an opinion on which one you think is the most effective method. Right, let's go on to our final section, which I've left this side for. Wow, that's looking incredible, isn't it, guys? I absolutely love that. Look at that. That looks incredible. There we go. Let's just get it right. There we go. So now this little space here we're going to use for my number 1 tip, basically, of this year is desertification. It's got to come up, guys. It's got to come up. It's not been on for 4 years, I think. 4 years. And all the geography teachers are tipping it. We reckon that desertification is probably going to make its appearance, and it's probably going to be the 9-mark question for this section. And it'll be something along the lines of, to what extent do the margins of hot deserts face pressures by people, or something like that? So what's happening on the margins of hot deserts that's causing problems around the world? Now, if that comes up, desertification is the one to talk about. So let's get zoomed in. We'll quickly go through some of the key things with desertification, such as what it is, why it's happening, the causes, and the management. How do we prevent desertification? So here we go. The must revise topic. Ooh, I'm excited. So this is desertification. It's how humans are impacting hot deserts, the impact that humans are having on hot deserts. And it's a negative process. It's something that we don't want happening. It causes problems to our desert ecosystems. In fact, I'm just going to draw a line down this side, separating my rainforest stuff, which is all that stuff there. I'll just show you what I've just done there, guys. Look, so I've just cornered off that section. So all that other stuff is about rainforests, which I think will feature heavily this summer. Okay, but this is about hot desert ecosystems, biomes. Let's just get it right. There we go. Right, I think we're ready. Hot desert desertification. Okay, so what is desertification? Desertification is the process where land becomes damaged or degraded. I prefer the word degraded, which basically means damaged. I think it's slightly higher level, but if you want to put damaged, Absolutely fine. Okay. So desertification is a process whereby land becomes degraded over time. To remember it a bit easier, it is the spreading of desert areas. So desertification is a process by which deserts spread. Okay. But basically, it's on the margins where we get productive land turning in unproductive land. Okay. So it occurs on the margins of deserts where you got productive land here, productive soil, fertile soil. So it's when you go from productive land to unproductive desert. Unproductive desert. There you go. So it's where you go from productive areas where there's plants and soil with nutrients in to unproductive desert areas. Okay. So that's what it is. Right, let me just give you a few facts, because obviously if it comes up, you want to be able to drop a few facts in there and look like a grade 7 geographer. You've got to be smart with your facts, all right? So if you know any facts, always drop them in, especially if it's a 9 marker, which I think it might be. If it's not, it might be a 6. It's definitely going to be up there. It's going to be 6 or 9 if it comes up. So here's some facts. There's our little fact thing. By 2030, 50 million people will be displaced by desertification. Right. Will be forced off their land because they can no longer grow food and be forced to move elsewhere. So if you're asked why is desertification, who cares? Who cares about desertification? What does it matter? It doesn't matter to England, does it? But 50 million people living in areas at the moment where they can farm will have to move because their land has become degraded or desertified. Okay, so that is a big problem. That is a big sad face. It's a lot of people moving, their lives, upheaval. It's a social impact. Right, let's have a look at another fact by the United Nations. Now this is going to be good. United Nations know their stuff. They've said that 122 countries out of 196, 122 countries suffer desertification. So you might think, oh, well, it doesn't matter to me. I live in Burton or I live in the UK. And you're probably quite right, okay? Probably quite right. But it does affect 122 countries around the globe. So it affects more countries than it doesn't affect, which is crazy. Examples of places that have desertification as an issue are the Sahel region in just south of the Sahara Desert and the Aral Sea, which is in Central Asia. So again, these are two areas where there is desertification. The Sahel region is the most famous one. That's the one that we study a lot in our class. But the Aral Sea is another example. So just show off a little bit. You know what? Where is desertification happening? There are the places. Right. I just want to do 2 more things with you tonight, guys. I want to look at why it's happening, the causes of desertification, and how we manage desertification. Okay. So there's a key thing to remember about desertification. Okay. Here's my key. So there's a key thing to remember about desertification, which is vegetation and water protect soils. So if the soil is moist or wet, and if it's covered with a layer of grass or shrubs or bushes, that will protect the soil from being damaged. Okay. So whilst ever you've got plants on the surface or you've got moisture in the soil, your soil is going to be your soil is going to be good. Okay, big tick. So your soil is going to be good if it's been protected by plants. So when we look at the causes of desertification, you've got to think about why or what causes the plants to die or what causes the climate to be drier. Okay, so hit us up in the chat, guys. Can you give a cause of desertification? What is causing deserts to spread around the world? What's damaging the land on the margins of our deserts? So whilst we do the causes, we can break this up into physical causes or natural and human causes of desertification. So we're going to split it up into two areas here. So people cause desertification. Again, Google images of desertification. You can have a little look at a picture as well, make sure you know what it's about. So what are the causes of desertification? They're coming in. They're coming in. Right. Oh, good. Well done, guys. Right, let's get going. Let's get cracking with these then. So the first one, let's go with this one, is deforestation in desert regions. So people clearing trees on the edges of deserts. Deforestation. The main reason is for something called fuel wood. So poor people still go out and collect wood to burn on their stove, to heat their homes. It's called fuel wood. If I lived in Niger or I lived in Sudan, I'd probably be out collecting some sticks and wood or trees to build a house with or to cook or whatever else used for energy. So deforestation, well done. Yes, number 2, the overs. Remember the overs. There's 2 overs. The first one is overgrazing. So putting too many cattle, mainly goats, because not many people people keep animals. It's hard to keep cows in a desert because it's too hot. It's hard to keep sheep in a desert, it's too hot. So it's mainly goats. So goat herding. And basically that's me that's me goat. And basically what happens is the farmer will put too many goats on the land. The goats will graze the plants and basically strip all the vegetation off. So these tend to be nomadic farmers. So once the area has been stripped of grass, they'll take the goats to another area, gets cleared, and the soil dries out in the sun, cracks, and turns into sand or desertifies, loses its nutrients, and it becomes less productive. Right. So we've got overgrazing. Okay. There's a few more on here. Oops. So another human cause is, here we go, over cultivation, over farming with crops, putting too many crops on the same bit of land and stressing the soil, ploughing the soil, digging the soil over. All that kind of ploughing, moving, digging disturbs the soil, it dries out, and that can create desertification. So overcultivation, which is basically crop farming. And last but not least, and this is the reason why there's so much farming going on, rapid population growth. Rapid population growth. Yeah, that's why the farmers are there. That's why they're trying to grow food. The population is going up. What do we need? We need more goats. We need more crops. We need more farming. We're going to stress the soil. We're going to clear areas. And that is what leads to the destruction of the soil over time. It degrades in the hot temperature and it dries out and turns into deserts. Okay. The physical cause is only mainly one, and that is, you could argue this is slightly human as well, it's climate change. Dry weather, climate change / drought. which was mentioned on Harry's here. Well done, Harry. It was mentioned on Harry's drought. There you go. So just been drier than usual. So many parts of desert areas, we've seen a 30% drop in precipitation. So most desert areas, semi-desert, margins of desert, are now getting drier. So there's been a 30% drop in precipitation. So it's drier, and then we're stressing out that soil, we're overworking the land, and that leads to a loss of fertility in the soil. It dries out and turns into desert, which is desertification. So in summary, who is to blame for desertification? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4 are human causes, and 1 is a physical cause, which could arguably be triggered by climate change, which is caused by humans. So it is basically to do with human land management. Basically, that's the main problem. So humans managing land poorly. That's what's causing desertification. It's mainly a human-caused problem. Not good. Not good. So these people haven't got productive soil and farmland because of themselves are the root cause. But if humans are the problem of desertification, humans are also the solution. So let's have a little look in our last little section down here then. What can we do to manage desertification? What can we do to reverse desertification? How do we get those soils protected? How do we get the nutrients back in the soil? How do we get the soils wet? Remember, plants on the surface, moisture in the soil. How do we get the soils being productive again? Again, this is a question I think could be very likely in 2025. So I'm going to put here management of desertification. That's what the question will probably say. Management of desert areas or desertification. So what can we do to manage desertification? And this is our final bit tonight, guys. Hope you've enjoyed our live stream. Hit us up in the chat. How do we manage desertification? And we're going to think about what the main solution is. So let's have a little look. I'm going to pick them out in a little order here. Yes, James. Yeah. So if the problem is people removing the vegetation, let's just put the vegetation back. Afforestation, afforestation. James is spot on, and so is Harry. Yeah, absolutely spot on. So here we go. Solution number 1, tree planting. Tree planting is really a really good solution, and I'll tell you why. A couple of reasons. So if you plant a tree, here is our tree. Let's just draw that in. So if you plant a tree, it will do 2 things to help with preventing desertification. So the first one is that the roots from the tree or the bush, you could plant bushes as well. Trees or bushes, they're both just as good. Yeah. So we can plant trees or bushes, the roots of the tree. So the roots bind the soil. So they prevent the soil from being blown away by desert winds, and they prevent the soil being washed away if it was. So the roots bind the soil together. They protect the topsoil, which is the most important bit of the soil. That is the top layer of soil where all the nutrients are. All the nutrients in the soil is at the top. It's called the topsoil. If you're a bit of a gardener, you'll know that. All the nutrients are the most fertile bit of the soil is the top 2.5 centimeters. So you've got to protect that. If that gets blown away by the wind or gets washed away, then you've lost a lot of your nutrients in your soil. You need to protect your topsoil. So roots bind the soil, and trees will also shade the soil. So this big tree here, this big tree here shades the soil. So the shade actually reduces the soil temperature, and therefore there'll be more water in the soil because the soil's not as hot because it's getting shade. I'm sure you've sat under a tree when it's been really sunny to get in the shade. Yeah, it's cooler. Under trees, you get cooler. So it protects the soil. It stops the water from evaporating and it keeps more moisture in the soil. So there's one of them, planting trees. Now, the most famous tree planting scheme is, here we go. I'm going to write it in big in green. It's called the Great Green Wall. The Great Green Wall. Yeah, that looks a bit dodgy. I've written that, but anyway. The Great Green Wall. This is a massive planting scheme of trees on the edge of the Sahara Desert, all the way across the Sahel region, where they've planted millions and millions of trees to halt the spread of the Sahara Desert. Okay, it's called the Great Green Wall, which is a tree planting scheme. So they've planted trees, tree planting in the Sahel, and it's been organized by the United Nations. This is a bit geeky, but we've got some geeky geographers that want to get grades 7 and above. United Nations Conventions like an idea to combat desertification. So the United Nations have this massive project on to combat desertification. It's called United Nations Convention of Combat Desertification, or UNCCD. Okay, UNCCD. So that's a bit geeky, but hey ho, let's be geeky, eh? Get them top grades. Right, let's have a look at a few more strategies. I want to do 2 more strategies. Up here, someone's already mentioned it. Save water is a very correct answer. So deserts needs to be irrigated. The soil needs irrigation. Remember, moisture in the soil protects the soil. So we're going to do water conservation. Or we may just put up here, irrigate deserts, which is quite hard when you're in a desert because the nature of a desert is there isn't any water. Deserts are less than 250 millimeters of rain per year. So how do you water a desert is challenging, but one thing you can do is you can use drip irrigation. Drip irrigation. So James is absolutely right here. Drip irrigation. This is where you carefully drop water on the roots of the plant and you don't waste it. You conserve it. You save it. It's called drip irrigation. And here's a little phrase: more crop per drop. It's a really good phrase. Try and remember that for your exam. More plant grows for every drop of water that you give it. So more crop per drop. Another way in which farmers could save water is rainwater harvesting. Rainwater harvesting. So collecting rainwater from the roof in these big plastic butts. We do it in England. You see them in people's gardens, these big plastic rainwater butts, and they collect rainwater. And then you can irrigate your soil, protect your soil, stop it from becoming desertified. And the next thing we can do is educate farmers, which leads me on to our last little point. We must educate farmers on the damage that they're doing and how they can prevent desertification of their farms. So one way in which you can do this is we can build something called stone buns or magic stones, which is big rocks at the bottom of a slope. Okay, this is my stone bund here. So the people, usually women, but yeah, people go out and collect large rocks, okay? And then when it rains over the land, let's put our little arrow on. Just going to zoom you right in here so you can see. So when it rains, yeah, all of the nutrients get washed up against this little stone wall on the edge of the field. This is the edge of the farmer's field. Yeah. All the nutrients get washed up against it. And then the farmer will plant their crops next to the stone bund. Yeah. So basically, when it's windy or when it rains, all the nutrients from the topsoil get pushed up against the stone bund. That is the stone bund here. This bit here is the stone bund. And all of the nutrients, the nutrient-rich soil, gets washed or blown against the stone bund, and then they plant alongside there, and it's really fertile. So these are called stone bunds. They use them in the Sahel region. Stone bunds. It's like a little stone wall. Let's just get that focused in. Stone bunds. This is an example of, so basically it traps the topsoil, which is the most fertile bit. So it traps the topsoil next to the stone bund, next to stone bund. And then that will increase the farmer's yields. So increased crop yields. So the farmer can actually grow more food by planting next to his stone bund, and that is a great way of, managing the land. This is a really good example of, this could be a great mark, appropriate technology or intermediate technology. So it's a really good example of appropriate technology, which means it's affordable. We can do it in LIC countries. It's affordable. They can easily maintain it. It's just literally rocks in a line across the edge of a field margin. So it's really appropriate. It can easily be repaired. It can easily be fixed and easily maintained. It's cost effective. Doesn't cost too much. Well, it doesn't cost anything, does it, to collect some large rocks? And it's a really good way to prevent desertification. So there you have it. Desertification, my biggest tip of paper one across the whole of the paper. And I think it will be on in 2025. But look at that. So that is probably about 5 or 6 lessons worth of work, all on a single page for today's absolute revision masterclass. There you go. So hopefully that's got you all excited for paper one. Question 2, ecosystems. Don't forget, I did say revise the Thar Desert, Amazon rainforest case study, and plants and animals. But if you've done that, you're going to love this section. It's going to come up. You're going to be like, yes, I feel really happy about anything that can be asked in our section on tropical rainforests. So if you've enjoyed today's live stream or you're watching on catch up, please hit us up in the comments. Show your appreciations. Also hit that thumbs up, guys. We've got more content coming to this YouTube channel on paper one. Next week, we're going to look at UK coasts. Do not miss that. UK coast, what's going to be on the UK coast section this year, most likely to be on this section. Then we're going to look at UK rivers. You need to be following the channel if you want to be successful in the exam. And make sure you're doing your revision. Yeah, there you go. That's my revision for today. I've absolutely loved it with you guys today. And I feel better. Yeah, with revision, you feel so much better about those exams. You can get kind of excited for them because you've done the work. You've done the prep. You can start to look forward to those exams and show off how much you know about geography. But yeah, if you've not subscribed to the channel, thank you to the 233 people that have subscribed. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you are notified on our next live stream, Monday, 6 p.m. If you haven't hit the thumbs up, hit the thumbs up, guys. It does help to push this content out to other amazing geographers around the country that want to watch this content as well and get involved. But I'm going to leave you there. Thank you very much to the chat. Thank you, Bruno, for joining us and getting involved. Thank you, Harry, for joining. Thank you to James as well. Mod, you're amazing. Thanks for joining in to tonight's live stream. We really appreciate it. And for tonight, guys, enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll be back next Monday for some more revision on UK coasts. Bye-bye. Take care. All the best.